Game time. Okay, materials needed. You'll need 2 dice. You'll need paper, pencil, and multiplication chart. Player 1 rolls the dice. Okay, so player 1 rolls the dice. Then creates a fraction with the 2 dice. Okay, so I have a 6 and a 1. So the fraction I would create would be 1 over 6. So I'm going to write 1 over 6. Okay, you have to create fractions. You cannot create improper fractions. So your numerator has to be less than your denominator. Okay, so player 2 follows the same procedure. So player 2 rolls the dice, then creates a fraction with the 2 dice. 1 over 1, well, that would be a whole number, so let's roll again. 4 over 6. Remember, your top number, your numerator has to be less than your denominator. So I created 4 over 6. So player 2 rolled 4 over 6. Okay. Rule number 3. Okay, my third direction is player 1 rolls the dice again, but this time the numbers rolled will be used to create the denominator. Okay, so now this is going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to roll. So I roll a 3 and a 5. So what I can do is I can use this number as 35, or I can use the number as 53. Okay, so I would have to decide, do I want to use 53 or 35 as my denominator? So 4, once the denominator is created, so our denominator that we chose is 35. So once the denominator is created, the student will set up the two fractions and solve to check if they could be equivalent. So remember, this is player 1. So this is where you need, so here's my paper. So I'm going to do, this is player 1. And the fraction I rolled was 1 over 6. Okay, and I'm trying to see if 1 over 6 is equivalent to something over 35. So 6 times 1 over 6 times something has to equal to blank over 35. Okay, so I'm trying to solve for these two. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to count by sixes. The reason I said to take out your multiplication chart is if you are still struggling with your sixes, you can use your multiplication chart. So let's count by 6 till we get to 35. Let's see if we can. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. 36 is too much. So no, we cannot get to 35. So this is not an equivalent fraction. This will not be an equivalent fraction. So for this, player 1 would earn 0 points because this would not be equivalent. So I'm going to put here not equivalent. Okay, so now let's check. Now it's player 2's turn. So we're going to go with player 2. So player 2's fraction is 4 over 6. So player 2 is 4 over 6. We're going to see if it's equivalent to something else. So let's continue. So here, you know how it says player 2 rolls the dice. So now it's going to be, player 1 rolls the dice. Now it's going to be player 2. So player 2 is going to roll the dice, and we have a 52 or a 25. So 52, 25, or 52. So let's go with 52. So we're going to put a denominator of 52. And we're going to see, remember, we're doing this mathematically. Whatever I do to my numerator, I do to my denominator, vice versa. Whatever I multiply my denominator by, I do to my numerator. So 6 times what equals 56? So again, let's look at our multiplication chart. Here's my 6, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, and then 60. So I cannot multiply by anything to get to 56. So again, these are not equivalent. So player 2 gets 0 points. And then you will continue until one player scores 5 points. So remember, then after player 1 does this, player 2 follows the same procedure, and then you check if they're equivalent, you get 1 point. If they're not equivalent, you get 0 points. The player to reach 5 points wins. Okay, so after you play the game, now you are going to practice on page 3B, page 2. You are going to look for the equivalent fractions. And then you have to tell me what you multiplied the numerator by. So 2/5 is equivalent to, and remember to do this mathematically. Sorry, wrong page. Fraction equivalency is 4. You're doing page 4. So here you're going to be multiplying again. So half is equivalent to blank over 4. So you're going to ask yourself, 2 times what equals 4? Well, 2 times 2 equals 4. So whatever I do to my denominator, I do to my numerator. 1 times 2 equals 2. So what did I multiply? I multiplied by 2 over 2. And another way to do this is if you divide these equally, there, you are modeling a fraction of 2 over 4. So you're going to do that for 1 through 8. On the bottom, now you're doing it without the models, but you're just going to do the same thing. You're going to see how can I solve this mathematically. Whatever I do to my numerator, I do to my denominator. Whatever I do to my denominator, I do to my numerator. So you ask yourself, 4 times what equals 8? Well, 4 times 4, 8. 4 times 2 equals 8. So 2 times 2 equals 2 times 2 equals 4. So there's your answer. I multiplied by 2 over 2. On page 2, you are using this picture to solve. A worker is folding the towels below in a hotel's laundry. He has folded 3/4 of the towels in the dryer. Which fraction is equivalent to the fraction of towels the worker has folded? So they want you to compare these fractions to 3 over 4. So he has folded 3/4. So the way to solve this is by making your equivalent fractions. So this is A, B, C, D. So here's A, B, C, and D. So for A, you're going to put 3/4 times what equals, and you're going to put 14 over 20. And then you're going to do the same thing to this one, 3 over 4 times something equals to 2 over 3. Now remember, if you can't multiply, so you're going to say, okay, 4 times what equals 20? And then you're going to multiply the same number by 3 and see if it gives you 14. You're going to do that here. 4 times what equals 3? And then the same number, multiply it on the top. Okay, the same factor. Okay, letter C, you would do 3 over 4 is equivalent to 24 over 32. Again, 4 times what equals 32? And then whatever you do to your denominator, you do to your numerator. And then 3 over 4 equals 4 over 13. 4 times what equals 13? Whatever you do to your denominator, you do to your numerator. So find out which one is showing you the equivalent fraction. On number 16, Ross arranged half of his collection of stamps into a new stamp book. Which fraction is not equivalent to the fraction of stamps that Ross put in the stamp book? So you can do the same thing, and you're looking for the answer that is not equivalent. Sad face, not equivalent. Not equal, okay? Not equal. So you can use the same procedure. Or if you know, remember that half means that your numerator is half of your denominator. So you're looking for the one that is not half.